Hey everyone, so once again we are on the licks that have influenced my playing over the years, and this lick is one from a guitarist which is a huge influence, I think, judging by some of the comments that I've got on my jamming videos. And it's a player which is sadly missed, unfortunately, due to dying a few years ago. So yeah, another great guitarist gone, unfortunately, and one that we'll never see live again, only on YouTube and videos that were recorded. But anyway, this is this week's lick. So obviously that lick that we've done this week is from a player called Gary Moore, for those that didn't guess it. Now, Gary Moore, so Thin Lizzy, solo player, whatever you want, I don't know, so many different things. He's a blisteringly fast pentatonic player. Now, I think that's where a lot of my influence comes from, because he was mainly pentatonic and I kind of related to that quite nicely. So his pentatonic playing, although he uses those two fingers for a lot of it, I use my third finger and first finger for a lot of it. It's, you know, you pick up nuances, you pick up things along the way, and I've always wanted to kind of mimic Gary Moore in many ways ever since I heard Still Got the Blues. And the solo in that, when he goes for it in that second solo, man, that is amazing. But I've never really been able to mimic the same thing, so I kind of take on board a lot of his more bluesy licks when it comes into it, rather than the fast licks. But for those that are interested, I do offer Skype lessons, one-to-one. You can use Zoom, Skype, Jam Kazam, whatever it's going to be. And all the details for that are on my website, which is dansguitar.com, linked up there as well. If you want Patreon stuff, so this is lessons that you won't find on YouTube, tabs that you won't find on YouTube, obviously, jamming tracks which are completely exclusive to the Patreon platform, and the offer of an hour lesson once a month with me via Skype, and also gaining all the other benefit stuff on the other tier systems as you go through, is all on my Patreon page, so please check that out as well. And it starts at $1 a month, going all the way up to the hour-long lesson one, which is a bit more. But there you go. So please subscribe to the social media stuff, which is just there, and let's get on with that breakdown. Like, share, and subscribe as well, please, please, please. Thank you very much. As you can tell, it's not for the faint-hearted, and that is not because of the speed of it. It's more because of the, how would you put it, the emotion, the aggression, the feeling behind it, and it's got a lot of grit, as far as, in theory, a simple pentatonic lick is concerned. So hence why I guess Gary Moore was just such an influential player, because he's got some real flavour to his playing. So a lot of this comes from the vibrato, the way he's bending a certain part. When we come into that, I'll tell you how to do that, but where you sort of hook in two strings at the same time. So initially you've got this 11th fret bend on the second string, so that, and you're going to try and get the vibrato on the top of it. So that's not the easiest thing to do, because you've got to get so that's first port of call. To practice that one would make your playing a lot better in the first off, whatever. Anyway, you know, it's going to make your playing a lot better, put it that way. So you've got the next part of the lick after holding that bend and adding vibrato is, which is kind of a standard pentatonic lick in a sense. But what we're doing with that is, hang on a minute, let me get my tab back up so I don't make a mistake. So what we're doing with that is basically coming from the 8th fret on the first string to the 11, pulling off to the 8 on the second string, bending as soon as you get on it, the 10th fret on that third string, bending it up, letting it down, pulling off to the 8, so back to the 10th fret on that third string, bend it up, holding it at the top, it's kind of like a Hendrix thing this, going down to the 8 on the same string, and there's a slight blues curl, not vibrato, so there's blues curl on that, so which is where you're taking that 8th fret and just giving it a slight hook, so it's like a mini micro bend with the technical name, well maybe it's not technical, but with the nickname of a blues curl, so where you're just holding the note and giving it that little hook right at the very last moment. So, and then you go to the 10th fret on the 4th string, do 3 strikes. Okay, and then you've got the sort of run down, which is that 8th fret, 3rd, 2nd string, and then slide it out. So. And I'm slightly curling that before I roll it down, so it just gives it that little extra Gary Mooreism, if you like. So the key points to that so far are to make that bend really aggressive in many ways. And add those little nuances in of the blues curls, and the sound obviously is a big part to it, because you need bags of gain or bags of distortion, whichever way you want to look at it, to get that sort of sustaining sound. Okay, now the next part is the where are we? There. Right, as simple as it is, basically just 3 notes. We've got the hard part of basically bending the 13th fret on that first string full tone. Now the initial bend is pretty clean, so with a rake down, and then as you strike, because of the way that finger's holding up the 2nd string as well, you get that horrible, if you like, gritty sound, but it just sounds so awesome. So you've got to try and make sure you're fretting 2 strings at the same time. Not on the bend initially, but you kind of lean over to that 2nd string as you got the bend at the top. So you bend the 1st string, lean slightly onto the 2nd string, and you end up with 2 notes at the same time, just like that. And that's where you end up with. And then you've got. So that's where you're taking that double bend, bending it up, letting it down, pulling off to the, what is it? That's the 11 on the 1st string, and then 13th fret on the 2nd string with loads of, not distortion, vibrato as you roll that out to the end. So thanks very much for reaching the end of the video and watching it and learning with me. If you like these videos, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button, share all the social media bits and bobs, and maybe watch some of those videos that pop up at the side. It's all gonna have a nice knock-on effect with the way I interact with YouTube as well. So for those that are interested, once again, Skype lessons are all available on the dansguitar.com, my website, and on the Patreon system, where you'll gain access. If you opt for the Skype lesson, you will gain access to lessons that you won't find on YouTube, jamming tracks that you won't find on YouTube, and all the tabs in Guitar Pro format as well. So that is a win-win situation. Plus you're going to learn from me in person, so that's also quite nice as well, because I get to see some of your faces. It's lovely. Anyway, right, so that's it. I'm going to leave you to learn that lick, and I'll see you next week for week 269. Adios.